G'day there guys, it's Marky and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's bloody good episode, and with that said I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and let's get right into it. Cheers.
I think my boyfriend is lying about being in medical school. I, 26 female, have been dating Sam, 31 male, for about 4 months now. We met online and he told me he was going to be a doctor. The first 2 months were fine, but the last 2 months, I've started to feel like he hasn't been honest about several aspects of his life, the biggest being him in medical school. He used to live overseas and was in medical school there for a short time. I'm pretty sure this is true because I've seen in pictures. That was about 5 years ago. The school that he says he goes to is fairly prestigious, and I have another friend, Jason, who graduated with a medical degree from the same school. Jason told me how difficult the program was and how he never had time for anything besides studying. Jason also said that nobody in his program worked. Sam works 40 hours a week in an office, and I've never once seen him study. He always seems to have a completely open schedule to hang out all the time, which I thought was odd. I asked him why he's never studying, and he said he doesn't need to. I was always a good test taker and never studied a lot in college, but I still feel like medical school is a whole different ballgame. I've spent a lot of time at Sam's house and have never seen a single document suggesting that he was in school, textbooks, assignments, nothing. He also has let me use both of his computers, and I've never seen anything on his history or anything suggesting anything to do with school. I don't know about you guys, but when I was in school, I had papers all over my house and my computer always had school stuff on it. A few weeks ago, we were at dinner, and I can't remember how this was brought up, but he mentioned that the human ear has 30-something bones in it. I know from high school biology that it has 3 bones, and I said he was wrong. He said something to the effect of, "I'm a medical student. How are you going to tell me that I'm wrong?" So I Googled it right in front of him and showed him that I was correct, and he seemed mad. I then asked him how many bones were in the human body, and he was wrong again. I feel like this is pretty basic stuff that a medical student would know, right? Even I know that. So this week I've been feeling suspicious, so I decided to prod. I asked him if I could come sit in one of his classes, and he said his school doesn't do that. Fine. I asked if we could meet up on campus for lunch, and he said I couldn't come because you need a student ID to get on campus due to COVID. Fine. I asked to see his student ID, and he said he lost it. And then I asked him if he could send me a selfie of him in his hospital uniform, and he said he doesn't like the way he looks in a white coat. He sends me other selfies all the time. I feel like at this point he's lying, but some of my friends said that I'm being paranoid. If he is lying, how should I prove it? Edit. He's not actually my boyfriend, he's just someone that I've been seeing frequently. I just wrote that for the ease of the title. Edit 2. Felt it was worth noting that these past 6 weeks have been summer vacation, so he hasn't needed to be in class. He said he would get a new student ID when classes start. In the comments, "Honey, you need to walk away. The red flags are waving in the breeze loudly." If he will lie about this, there's no limit to what he will lie about. Does he even work where he says he does? And OP says, "I've been to his office job and have met his co-workers, so yes. I know he works 40 hours in an office." Night Rider Girl replies to OP, "Let me tell you this from the perspective of someone who caught a liar. Once you catch them in a lie this big, the trust is gone. You're always going to have it in the back of your mind that he is lying, even when he's telling the truth. Lying about being in medical school is a big lie. Of course he's lying. Of course he is. Wow. That is all kinds of manipulation and crazy shit. You already know this, don't you? I'm trying to be kind, but why haven't you called him out, really? Why on earth would you buy into this deceit? I'm guessing you're afraid that you'd find out the truth and then be confronted with whether or not you need to end this relationship and you don't want to end the relationship. I get it, but this is so ridiculous that I'm worried for you. He has to have a student ID. Does he have a parking sticker? I'm guessing not, and he's going to give you some stupid excuse as to why not. Your friends say you're being paranoid? Lol, are they really friends? My answer, nope, nope, and absolutely not. If this guy is in medical school, then I'm not an ER nurse. Granted, retired. A 10-year-old knows how many bodies are in the human ear. Don't minimize your suspicions. You are right, you are smart, he is lying. I'm not even buying the overseas medical school story based on his knowledge of the human body. He sounds manipulative. Please be careful. OP replies, the first month we dated, I only saw him 2 or 3 times, and the last month has been summer vacation, so no classes. I didn't really think about it. I only started really getting suspicious when we had the conversation about ear bones, which was 3 weeks ago. Now I've looked back and realized how suspicious it all sounds. It isn't even that suspicious. It's just lying, and he gets angry when you proved him wrong? Girl, you've been dating this lunatic for a short time. Trust me, he's not in any prestigious medical school. He's not in any medical school. I doubt he's even in college, given the lack of supportive evidence. If he's lying about this, and I know he is, what else is he lying about? You have to have a complete bachelor's degree, usually in the sciences, at an accredited university, and then pass the MCAT to be considered for med school. And that's not even a guarantee. I have a couple of MD friends. I sent one a screenshot and she laughed so hard and said if he is telling the truth, then she doesn't want him working on her patients. He's lying. I'm sorry that you're going through this, but it's better to find out the truth. There's a couple of ways. Ask him what he got on his MCAT, medical college admission test, as it is required for enrolment into any accredited medical school. It does include a lot of science questions on it, so that's why most doctors have a bachelor's in the science area. Ask him what classes he's taking. It should be a lot of anatomy, biology, chemistry, histology. Most first years study on average 4 to 8 hours a day. My friend is a biology and chemistry genius, and she studied 3 to 4 hours daily her first year. It got worse the second year. Medicine is one of the hardest degrees in the world. If it was that easy, we'd all be MDs. I'm so sorry that you're going through this, but it's better to know the truth. Listen to your gut. Not for nothing, but my MD friend also mentioned that someone who goes to these extremes don't just have low self-esteem. Usually when they're caught, they play the I have low self-esteem, or I just want you to like me, or I was in medical school and I was planning on returning. It's a little scarier than that. So be careful. Sometimes these people really suffer from significant mental illness. You've only dated him for 4 months, and they are quite good at hiding it. Please be careful. Good luck. OP, I will say from my personal experience with someone exactly like that, more often than not, they are hiding, as this commenter said, significant mental illness. And a lot of the time, that person is not safe to be around at all. And the closer they enmesh themselves in your life, the more at risk you are of serious harm to yourself. Obviously, I'm biased in this regard because I see all of the signs that I saw in my real-life experience with someone exactly like this. But believe you me, if you can do a clean cut from this person and get the hell away from them as soon as possible before all of the other manipulation starts, you will be a lot safer because you don't want them to start stalking you. That's for sure. You really don't want that to start happening. Good luck. And now, on to the update. So the response was overwhelming, and I'm glad I got confirmation on my suspicions because I felt like I was going crazy. I broke up with him over FaceTime, and I didn't tell him the real reason. I just gave a vague explanation about not being ready to date anyone. There are other things, in addition to my post, that I'm pretty sure he was also lying about. I didn't bring up any of his lies because I honestly feel slightly scared of a person who would lie about things like that. He didn't take it very well, and sent me a barrage of texts trying to guilt trip me, and also was borderline harassing me into meeting up with him. Apparently he bought me a present and was trying to force me to take it. Overall, just really gaslighty and manipulative. I eventually just stopped responding and haven't heard anything in a few days. Hopefully I never have to see or speak to him again. Thanks to you all for your responses. Going forward, I'll be a lot more cautious about who I believe. In the comments, Princess CG says, "From my own perspective, people who lie this excessively, what's the end goal? He's working in an office. He's not hiding that. Why even pretend to be a med student when if she didn't stay for the next 2 to 5 years, this lie will eventually be exposed? Is it like a narcissist thing? It's better that she cut it off without calling out his lies. No idea what he could have escalated to." The compulsive liar that I used to work with did not have an end goal. There was no plan. He literally couldn't stop himself. It was embarrassing to watch. Yup, that's why they go bananas when you catch them at it. I'm a doctor, and I went to a mid-tier med school. Nothing especially prestigious. As soon as I got to he works 40 hours a week, I could already confirm. Lol, as soon as she said he had a job, I was like, no fucking way. I'm really glad she got out of there. One of the news stories from years ago that really stuck with me was that of a woman who had married a fantasist, also claiming to be in medical school. She finally confirmed that he wasn't, and he shot her to death in her sleep. People can be unpredictable when that bubble reality collapses. Jesus Christ, yeah. Considering how he harassed her after she broke up with him, it seems like he would be capable of doing something dangerous and unhinged. In my experience with a person like this, it is extreme delusions of grandeur, and definitely 100% narcissistic personality disorder, just extreme narcissism. That person is better than everyone else. That person is the best person to ever exist. They are always correct about everything that comes out of their mouth, even though it's always horse shit. They have millions of dollars in the bank. They're an extremely successful person, but they will never show you evidence of any of this. And then when you pop that bubble, they get extremely aggressive and angry, and they are not a safe person to be around. OP was right to listen to the comments. She was right to trust her gut on this one and break it off before there was an in-person connection that he could have manipulated her into. Who knows what the hell he would have done to her with that "I got you a present, you need to come take it, you need to come get it right now. It's really messed up of you not to come meet up with me and get this present for you, at least as a goodbye." Just complete manipulator, unhinged, seriously, dangerously mentally ill 101 behavior. And if any of you guys listening to this can pick up on someone that is acting like that is similar to this guy's behavior, maybe it's a friend that has a partner like that, please help them. Please do. It's really not fun to watch these types of situations play out. Thank you for the story. Thank you for the update, OP. I'm glad that you broke up with him and you cut ties. Good luck going forward. Our next post is by user Comfortable C, and it's titled, "Am I the arsehole for taking my daughter and cutting off my parents without telling them?" This has a trigger warning for sexual assault. It is not a deeply graphic retelling of it. It is just mentioning the topic and how it relates to this story. I, an 18-year-old female, decided to bring my almost 5-year-old daughter with me, 5 hours away from my parents. I need to know if I went too far. When I was 12, I was SA'd by a family member who was 17, and I became pregnant. My parents were pro-life, and they forced me to keep the baby, even when I begged them not to. I gave birth at 13, and I bled a lot. I had a hemorrhage, and they performed a C-section and hysterectomy on me. I had a daughter, and when I was told that I would never have kids again, I hated my parents so much for it. They made me suffer over something that was preventable. They decided to lie to neighbors and friends about how the baby was conceived, saying that I was sleeping around. I got bullied in my neighborhood and at school, with kids calling me mummy and making fun of my C-section scar. I lost a lot of friends because of it. There were rumors that I had STDs from sleeping around, and I probably didn't even know who the father was. The father of my daughter, however, faced no trouble for the assault. When his family heard about him impregnating me at 12, they moved to a different place and changed everything. I don't care to ever see them again, and I'm glad that they left me alone. My parents decided to take care of my daughter and ignored me. The only good thing they gave me was therapy. At one point, I used to hate my daughter for causing me this pain, but in therapy, my hatred shifted more towards my parents. They knew that for my height, age, and weight, I could have died giving birth, and they didn't care at all. She was innocent in this, and I didn't want my daughter to be raised by abusive, narcissistic parents. I didn't want them to take away my motherhood. I didn't want her to have generational trauma. So when I turned 18, I found an aunt on social media who was estranged from my parents, and she offered for my daughter and me to live with her. I have legal rights over my daughter. My parents didn't have any rights. They were more like caregivers. One night, while my parents were asleep, I was already packed up, along with my daughter. My aunt came and drove us to her place, and she's paying for my college funds too. And I decided to take a gap year to adjust to this new place. My daughter is adjusting well. She said that she misses my parents, but I think we'll be fine. She loves my aunt's dogs so much and would cuddle with them. She's going to kindergarten, and pickups are only for me and my aunt. I told one of my friends who was with me through it all, and she told me that it's kind of heartless that I disappeared without even giving my parents a note or something. She told me I could probably cause them an aneurysm because I disappeared like that. Maybe I should have told them. I thought I was doing the right thing by leaving, but my own friend, who was with me through thick and thin, is telling me that I should have given them some type of note. I kind of feel bad. I've always had empathy for people who were horrible to me, except for my abuser. But now I'm scared they might try to find me and take my daughter, or turn everyone against me again. I've never parented, so I could be bad at it, but my aunt is helping me. I'm also scared my parents might pass out or something bad if me and my daughter's leaving caused that. Thinking about it is making me more paranoid. So am I the asshole? In the comments, Dipping My Toes says, not the asshole. Just think about what your daughter would go through when your parents allow that relative to SA her and get her pregnant so that she can endure everything you went through. That should hopefully dry up any remaining sympathy that you have for these disgusting pieces of shit that you're unfortunate enough to be saddled with as parents. You did the right thing by getting your daughter away from them and making a new life for the two of you away from such evil, disgusting scumbags. They deserve nothing from you except total silence and absence. Please do the right thing for your daughter and stay strong. I'm very proud of you for having the strength to rebuild your world after what you have had to endure. Best of good fortune to you and your little girl. Just to add, they might report you missing. You might consider calling the police in your previous location and let them know that you and your daughter are safe and left on purpose, but do not disclose to them where you are. Not the asshole. They victim blamed you and did not pursue justice against the man who assaulted you. Your daughter is not safe around them. The safety of you and your child is far more important than the feelings of people who side with rapists. Because by trashing your reputation and not pursuing justice on your behalf, that is what they did. On a side note, depending on where you live, the statute of limitations may not have run out on the SA. In many locations, it is longer for crimes against children than those against adults, specifically so that those who were not given justice as children can receive it as adults. Look into your local laws. You may be able to pursue charges against the perpetrator. Your daughter's DNA holds irrefutable evidence of the crime and of who committed it. If the statute of limitations has not run out, you could still force this guy to face criminal charges. Absolutely heartbreaking situation for you to be dealing with. No, you're absolutely not the asshole. What you're doing is survival. You are surviving. Your parents robbed you of choice, safety, and dignity, and they let you carry that trauma that you should never have been given in the first place. And then they humiliated you to protect their image. I don't think you owe them a goodbye. You don't owe them anything. You don't owe them closure. They are getting what they deserve. You do owe your daughter a safe and loving life, and that's what you're giving her. Ignorance or not, What your friend is saying here is simply unacceptable, and you've already cut your parents out of your life. I think it's time for her to be cut out of your life as well. I don't know how anyone can look at what you have been through and been like, yeah, but what about your abusers? How do they feel about this all? No, get rid of her as well. That's not a healthy support network. That is someone that is continuing to victim blame and make excuses for your parents. You don't need her in your life. You just need to focus on yourself and your daughter. So please do that. And now, onto the update. Hello. A lot of you asked for an update. I decided to block that friend out of my life. They knew what I went through, and they chose to worry about my parents instead. That's not happening. I filed a report to confirm that I am safe and that my daughter is safe, so they can't file missing persons reports and waste everyone's time. The thing is, my parents don't know where I am. They could be thinking that I'm at a friend's house or a shelter, etc. They were never close to my aunt, and they don't know where she is at all. My aunt privated her social media. She was pro-choice and never agreed with my parents' values, but she decided not to take any action because it didn't affect her life until the pregnancy happened. She ended up getting really upset when I gave birth, and she cut them off and moved away. It's basically been like this for a long time. I'm doing fine, and my daughter sleeps in the same bedroom as me. For people saying that this is fake, you are literally the reason why people are too scared to speak out. My focus is on my daughter now, and if my parents find me, we will get a restraining order against them. I'll update if anything happens, but right now, silence is better. In the comments, I wish you and your child all the best. Also, your aunt is amazing. And OP says, thank you. You're welcome. Stay safe and remember to document everything, and maybe even record a video of yourself saying what happened. If your parents ever call you, make sure that you record them and also try to get them to confess to forcing you to give birth and confirming who abused you. Since you say you may require a restraining order in the future, you should start making that record. Write down each incident of abuse or problematic behavior. Put dates, times, as much detail as you can remember, and any witnesses. Add any future contact from them to this record. Save it in at least 2 different methods, such as paper printout and Google Drive. What this does is show that the problem is recurring and serious. Such records can be a massive help in procuring restraining orders against stalkers, harassers, and abusers. Law enforcement and courts are more likely to listen to victims when the victim shows up with a long list of nasty incidents, with plenty of detail, and the names of witnesses. Since your aunt cut contact with your parents due to the abuse, incidents that she witnessed would be particularly useful, as she is a reliable witness who won't lie to protect your parents. Honestly, OP, this is the best possible outcome for both you and for your daughter. I think that blocking that friend was the smart and correct thing to do, because anyone who minimizes what you went through or centers your parents' feelings over your safety, they don't deserve access to your life. They have forfeited that right. You did everything right here. You made sure that you and your daughter are legally protected. You told the police that you're safe, like people recommended, and you cut off every path that your parents could use to control or find you in the future. You're finally free to heal from this and to build a real life on your own terms, and I am proud of you for that. Please stay close to your auntie. Please listen to the advice of the comments and start keeping records of everything, like they have said, and just take it slow. You were so brave for getting out of there, and I don't want guilt or paranoia or shit like what your friend had said to convince you otherwise. You've done exactly what a loving and responsible mother should do, and please keep putting yourself and your daughter first. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for updating us. Good luck going forward. Our next post is by user OKTel4303, and it's titled, A complete virgin here, 22 female, my friend, male 23, suggested casual sex. How can I respond? So I'm a 22-year-old woman and have never had a boyfriend or even romantically held hands with a man before. It would be a big jump just to have casual sex, right? I had a talk with a guy friend about sexual experiences, and he was shocked that I hadn't had any yet. He offered to give me experience if I wanted it, and I am really considering it. I'm not waiting for marriage or anything, and I'm honestly just not looking to really date anyone. So it wouldn't hurt, right? I'm just so inexperienced that I worry that it could be too much. Do I wait for someone that I actually want to date? He's been a friend for a long time and I trust him, but I'm sure that I'll be awkward about it and stuff. Is there anything that I'm not thinking of? Anything I should consider? In the comments, Refrigerator Fun says, "First, consider how valuable this friendship is. It's easy to say, we won't let it get weird or catch feelings, but that's not always something you can control. If this goes awry, would you find it worth the experience to lose a friend over it? If so, also be sure that you're able to communicate openly and honestly about your body and your preferences. Even if you're not sure what they are yet, you want to be comfortable telling him what you want to try, don't feel comfortable with, or hopefully, what you like and want more of. One thing to know is that it still can be a little awkward or weird with a new person, even if it's not your first time. But if you trust him, then that's a good start, and he knows that he'll be your first and should be ready to be patient and take things slow. It's also important to know that if at any point you want to stop, literally any point, just say stop, and that's okay. Expanding on the value of the friendship and potentially losing it, even if everything goes great and you guys remain good friends, what if you enter into a relationship with someone else in the future? Most people are not going to be okay with you remaining close friends with someone that you've slept with, probably more so with your first, who taught you how to have sex. I think this is also a pretty different norm, depending on the culture/social circle, to be fair. As a young bi person, if I told my partner that they couldn't be friends with anyone they've slept with in the past, they'd have 3 friends. Are you okay with the friendship quite possibly forever being weird or losing it altogether? Sex tends to complicate things, especially when you're young. I have lost many friends to awkward encounters. Jumping right into sex seems to skip a number of steps, especially for someone who has never had any romantic or physical contact with another man. Knowing your own body is important. Holding hands, light touching, kissing, and making out are all steps that prepare us for feeling comfortable with the much more vulnerable act of lovemaking. If you do decide to do this, I'd suggest taking it slow and in stages over a reasonable time period. If your friend respects and cares about you, he should be okay with this. I agree with that, and if it is something that you do decide to pursue, even though I think it's a bit of a risky idea, definitely do take it very slow, at your own pace, OP, and be very open and communicative all the way. Maybe I'm biased, but I don't think situations like this usually can end in just having a casual encounter and then everything being cool afterwards. I think you either end up together or you slowly drift apart in your friendship because future relationships do get muddied and it does become awkward. But hey, I'm keen to see what happens. And now, on to the update. So to recap, I had a friend offer a casual friends with benefits type of situation after he found out I was entirely inexperienced. The consensus from you all was basically that it's a very bad idea. Y'all are gonna yell at me. So, initially I was gonna turn him down, and I did. You guys low-key scared me, and I started thinking everything would be ruined forever, so I told him I didn't think that it was a good idea, and then I went to a party, and he was there. I got kinda drunk and he took care of me. He made sure that I ate something and got home safe. Didn't at all make a move, just a really sweet guy. It made me rethink. Some of you guys said he was taking advantage of me or manipulative, but honestly, he's just incredibly nice. I decided that I wanted to try things with him. Not necessarily full-on sex right away though, since I am so inexperienced. I offered up the idea, and he was down. He seemed genuinely flattered that I trusted him in that way. So we laid down some ground rules and talked everything through, decided what we both wanted. Ultimately, it was decided that we would start super slow and reassess over time to make sure that everything was good. We did a lot of things that I hadn't done before. Full makeout sessions, heavy petting, hand stuff, etc. It was so nice. I was nervous, don't get me wrong, but he was so reassuring and sweet. It was so exciting and fun. He's really good at putting me at ease and making me comfortable. He frequently checked in on me to make sure that I was alright and was just a downright gentleman. About a week and a half of this did have me feeling closer to him than I was prepared for, and then I felt so incredibly stupid for not listening to everyone's warnings. So I decided that I wanted to stop before I got actually hurt. Well, he actually wanted to stop before I could tell him. He confessed that he actually started developing real feelings for me immediately during our first time trying things out. He said that he always found me attractive, but that his feelings are much more intense than he anticipated them being. So he said we should slow down or stop. I told him that I'd flown a little too close to the sun myself. He asked me out. Like, on a real date. I hadn't been on one of those before, so I said yes. We're actually now officially dating. It's new and kind of scary, but I am very happy. I guess ultimately I could have just asked him out initially, but I'm kind of an idiot, so yeah. In the comments, "You all are gonna yell at me" proceeds to end in the best possible outcome. I'm still yelling, just good yelling. Honestly, this is the best case scenario. You were both on the same page, realized what needed to change before things got too messy. Yeah, so I'm gonna say congratulations instead of yelling. Killer communication right off the bat? Sounds like the makings of a happy and healthy relationship. Right? So refreshing that both of them, but let's be honest, especially the fella, given, society, realized they were developing real feelings and pulled back from the physical to further explore that emotional connection first. I'm glad everything worked out for you guys too, OP. This was the best way for this to have reached its conclusion. I'm glad, but also a little bit sad that we didn't get the drama of, a serious breakdown in the relationship and you guys fighting and being like, I hate you, I never want to see you again. No one wants to hear that, right, guys? None of you guys want to hear that. That would be a shame to hear a relationship breakdown that we can watch from a distance. Personally, I definitely would not want to see that. So this was definitely the best outcome to this situation. I'm glad that you guys are happy and healthy. Please do keep us updated if anything happens to this relationship in the future. I want to see you guys married. I don't want to see any other outcome personally. I would not be invested in any other outcome in this situation. Thanks for the story and thanks for the update, OP. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, watch another video. I know you want to. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.